Happy HaroWeen fans, it is Speedball Haro, and today for you guys I have for you from Build Fighters Battlelog and Premium Bandai, I have for you the Command Fumina, and yes, I am talking about the HG style Fuminas, or as I've called them, the non-figurized Build Girl series, which, well, if you know that line pretty well, well, you also know one of two things. One, they're very, well, popular with fans, and two, someone in Bandai really has a thing for Miss Fumina. I mean, seriously, she has now, well, soon to be, I should say, 5 base model kits, whereas most of the other Gundam girls from all the build series only have 1. I mean, literally, if you look at all the build girl kits and such, from high grades to the figure eyes, yeah, they all just have 1. The only other exception would be Miss Gyanko, who did get a secondary unit later, which was just a retool of her first unit. Now, the same, of course, applies to Miss Fumina here because, of course, this Command Fumina is just a retool variant of the winning Fumina. But that's only based off of one of her based molds. She has now, of course, like I said, or soon to be, 5 based molds of with the Super Fumina, winning Fumina, the Angel or Cubile Fumina, the official figurized Fumina, and of course the upcoming Avatar Fumina. That is 5 based Fuminas. Wow, that is a lot, guys. And like I said, I think someone in Bandai really has a thing for Miss Fumina. And I don't mean just the characters from the anime either. So yeah, all right. But as we all know, guys, the history of the past of the HG Fuminas are, well, they're not well liked, guys. They have flaws. They're, well, not hated, but some have called them demonic, and so forth. And this is, of course, this was, of course, Bandai's, you can call it the early attempt of making their own line of Armor Girl based kits before, of course, their highly successful 30-minute sister line and so forth. But yes, this was, of course, that kind of kit. It was, of course, a character kit, female, based with an armor type gimmick, which in this case was her SD armor gimmick. Now, of course, what was the flaws with the Fumina kit? What made this kit not as popular as, of course, our now current line of kits? Well, one fact that I have noticed myself is, well, scale. You probably can see right now, guys, maybe not as much, but this Fumina is a bit bigger than most figure ice girl kits that I have known built and so forth. I mean, literally, I've compared her with a few of my current builds, and she's a lot taller than she probably should be. I mean, I get it, that's supposed to be the fact that she's supposed to be 144 scale, but so is other kits like Miss Soletta and all that and so forth. And, well, she's a lot taller than they are. In real life, she'd probably be not much different height-wise. So that's one detail. And another known fact as well, as you can see with the head here, a lot of people have looked at the face detailing, and I mean, I don't have a big issue with it, but a lot of fans are like terrified of it. I mean, I've seen people say, "Oh God, I think it's gonna steal my soul," and such fun jokes like that. But honestly, like I said, the head seems a little bit bigger too than you would probably expect. That's just maybe it's just me. But I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that just noticed that. Now, what about the body, the mold, the actual kit itself? Is there any real big problems with it, you might ask? Honestly, like you see now in her just based form, you can call it. I didn't really have any major problems. I mean, nothing's falling off. See, now, of course, you might hear that though, that little rattle. That's the headband you see back here, as you can see me poking at it. It's just that it doesn't attach to anything. It's just a part you loop over the hairpiece when you plug that in, and it just sits there. Which, well, Miss Fumina seems to have a lot of parts like that in this case. What I mean is, another one I could tell you is this one right here. If I can get it to right there, the neck piece, this brown part. It looks like it just, just normal. It sits there, but no, it actually just, when you build the head, this part just slides over the neck joint. It's just like clothing, armor, etc. And it just sits there. It doesn't plug into anything, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but if you have to take off the head and such and you happen to drop this down, that part's going to fly. That's going to be going. Yeah. Now, are there any other problem areas? The articulation wise, I didn't really have any major issues with. I mean, I did notice with the legs, if you do, bend them out a certain amount or just distance, as you just saw, guys, they will pop off like here. Now the arm, I didn't really have that issue. I mean, it's just a normal ball jointed shoulders, just like past ones I've built. Now, of course, if you, of course, pull it out, yes, it will palm off as well. Waist wise, this seems pretty tight. It doesn't really, loose. It doesn't pop out. And same with the upper section right here. It doesn't really pop out unless, of course, you yank it out. Head-wise, it seems all right. I can twist her head all the way around. Oh, God, I just committed murder. It doesn't, nothing's popping off or anything. Now, the hair part you see back here is a little loose. And like I said, that little beret back here, or hair tie, sorry, just sits there. So if you pull that out, yes, that's just going to fall out. But I mean, it's not loose. I mean, I could shake it and the hairpiece stays on. So, there's no problems there. Let's see. Legs don't have a ball joint, even though it looks like one. It's a peg joint that connects like this. It just goes up and down like that, no problem. It doesn't have any like real side articulation that much unless you do this, which is fine. Now but one section I can mention that's a little problematic or just minor annoyance is the upper thigh right here, the gray section. You can turn it as much as it'll let you with no problem, but I noticed like when bending the knees and stuff, the actual joint here that's connected into here will slightly pull out and it can loosen the joint, so you sometimes do have to push that in again just to make sure you can see. So it may slide down a little. Just a heads up there, guys. I mean, other than that, the arms really I didn't have any bigger problems with. It holds pretty well, can bend, normal, etc. Full 360, yeah, no problems there. The only problematic areas on the arm was the wrist here. These big green gauntlets looking things, you call them. They're the more problematic section because, well, for one, well, as you can see, it is loose right here, guys. I'm just applying a little pressure, and it is loose, so it can pop out easily. So, I mean, you can reattach it, but still, I mean, it will pop out a little easier than I would like. Now, the only big problem I noticed with the wrist there is the ball joint connection, as into when you have the hands on. Now, the hands themselves are fine. They're just normal hands, nothing big, just normal ball joints. But it's the actual joint itself here that, well, that's where the problem is. I mean, I can move the hand about like this, no problem. But I also noticed it's impossible to turn the hands all the way around and such. I can move them up and down like this, but I can't really move them too far all the way around or spin them because the joint itself is just really tight. And I'm worried if I try that much, it might break the peg. I mean, if I move the ball joint up a bit more and such, I can do it a little bit, but like I said, I don't want to pull all the way around, so it could literally break the peg, and I don't want to do that. Now, of course, if you just take the hand down and repositioned it, you could do that. There's that option. But yeah, that was one of the flawed sections I noticed, and it's like, it's a bummer. It's like, really? Why would it be so flawed like that? But that's just how it was. So yeah. And as you guys have seen, it does have some articulation in the base form. It's not bad. It's fun to pose with as much as you can. Detail-wise, as you guys can see, she's wearing a green, well, I guess you would call it in this case an army jumpsuit. Though, to be fair, I don't know many militaries that would have a bikini setup instead of a full body uniform. But, it's Bandai and it's an armor girl, so there's your answer, guys. I mean, detail-wise, it's not terrible, guys. I don't think it's really that evil, demonic, and such. I think it's just a normal armor girl-like kick. It's not as perfected as the newer ones. No, definitely not. There's some flaws that can be adjusted, which I'm pretty sure the figurized version has adjusted mostly. But yeah, now, detail-wise to the facial-wise and such, minus the actual face, as I mentioned before, eye-wise, it was pretty nice to do this because the one thing I liked about this kit, and I've done this before with other Gundam Girl kits, is the eyes are pre-molded, detailed parts, so you can actually paint the eyes to be as accurate as possible. And that's the one feature I liked about this one, because I could do it too, just as I did with my mobile doll Sarah, guys, if you've seen that review. And that was a pretty nice. I was worried that it was just going to be stickers because, as you guys can see right here, these are all the stickers she comes with. But then again, it's a Pbandai kit, so you got the joke. Well, yes, as you can see, you got tons of eyes to pick from. Now, there's different sets of eyes because you got just eyeballs themselves, and then you got facial eyes where it comes with the details on the actual face that you can, put over and such. But well, if you guys know me, well, you'll know that I'll just paint the details on more, which I think I highly recommend you do because it looks much better that way, guys. It just looks so much better. So yeah. So now that we've gone through her, let's of course look at the probably the one of the main reasons you'd pick up Miss Fumina here, this version specifically, and that is the Command SD armor. And yes, this is an SD version of the Command Gundam, and yes, this is not just your standard Command version. This is of course the new armor gimmick version, based of course off of the winning SD armor. So what makes this, like different? Makes it anything different than your regular SDs? Well, unfortunately, guys, articulation on this little guy is limited. There's not a lot. I mean, there's no waist, completely no waist. So if you were thinking, I can back it to him around, nope. There's none in the head either, guys. Yeah, it just attaches like that. You can do that. That's it. You can't turn it. You can't do any. Well, there's no ball joint. It's just attached to this back part here, which of course you would remove to, of course, assemble the armor. But I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I thought it would be very restrictive, guys. I thought it'd be like super restrictive, like it had one pose and that's it. But no, the arms actually have articulation. You can pull off some fun little poses with it. I do like that. It's ball jointed, of course, and pegged in the shoulder here, so you can hold them up doing one of the classic poses, bang, 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 and so forth. And the feet actually have some articulation, a full peg and ball joint, so you can do a full pose where he's in a flight position. Yeah. Or just a crazy kick position. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I do like that about this, and I know a lot of fans actually probably prefer the SD parts of this kit than the actual armor girl of the kit, and I can understand, guys. It's a pretty cool version. I mean, imagine if we actually had a variant of the Command Gundam SD like this, where it has full articulation. Okay, let's put it this way. Imagine if there was a cross silhouette version of this. Yeah, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh man, that'd been freaking awesome," and yeah, I would agree. So yes, that's really about it for articulation. Detail-wise, it's nice, guys. It's very accurate to the original based Gundam, just of course with the additional attention part sets of course for the armor and other such features like that, and of course the reusage of such parts from the winning SD Gundam that this was of course based on. It's pretty cool. I do find that interesting that they were able to recycle so much of it. So yeah, okay. Now as you guys can see it, now give me 1 second, guys, and I will completely disassemble this so you guys can see how it would look all separate, and then of course I will assemble it onto Miss Fumina. Give me 1 second. And there it is, guys. This is the full SD armor disassembled and stripped, and oh god, it's mutilated. This really is a Halloween episode, isn't it? Oh boy. But yes, as you can see, this is what you will have left over once you fully disassemble the SD to reassemble, of course, onto Miss Fumina here. Now, you might ask, do you have any leftover parts, of course, from the original based kit of the winning Fumina? Yes, actually. You will have this rifle right here, which, when used with the winning and so forth in certain parts from here, would make a beam saber and such that you would hold. But yeah, we don't have the saber parts, guys. So you would more or less have like a bigger rifle if you really wanted to, because that's what this part is here. These green sections here attached to this part, which if you, of course you play around with, turn around, whatever, you can attach now onto here to make a different kind of weapon if you want. But yeah, that's just one thing left over. You will just get, of course, standard leftover parts real quick. You do get a leftover hair beret, which you can do whatever you want with. Left normal hand parts and literal hair part. Literally, it's where you see the bunny ears I put on right here, because this is technically a leftover part, but I decided, you know what, if I'm going to use this one, I might as well have some fun with the, as I'm calling them, the command bunny ears for our little bunny girl here for fun. But yeah, you would just replace that with this part, and she'd have a full set of hair, literally. But yeah, that's pretty much it if you were wondering for leftover parts real quick. But yes, this is all the parts you get. Everything's fully disassembled, though oddly enough, the you still have almost pretty much a full head right here. And the SD upper section is just right here, and it's just more or less you take the armor chest and you expand it outward to these pegs here, to the ports. And of course, once you attach that, wraps around her upper body, and this becomes part of her neck armor and such. And then this, of course, becomes the skirt armor and the back thrusters, and then of course the rest becomes the main body armor. Now, one thing to note that I don't know if many have mentioned, a feature I noticed that the Bandai actually designed into the body of Miss Fumia. Now, this is of course the standard normal look of any normal armor girl kit, but one feature that was added to this kit was that you actually, when you are assembling the armor, you have to literally almost rip her in half, so to speak, but more or less you have to lift up her waist section here, because you see that part in there, that's the green part of the well, her bikini, so to speak. Well, what you do is when you assemble the armor, you have to literally lift it up because the armor slides underneath her right there to actually attach to the body. That was a feature I did not know about this type about her in this kit. So that was interesting to discover. So yeah, okay then. I mean, that's just interesting. All right then, guys. If you will now give me 1 more minute, of course, I will have her fully assembled, and you can see how to do it. And here she is, guys. This is, of course, Miss Fumina in her full Command Fumina armor. Yes, this is a fully assembled now, and as you guys can see, it is very homage to, of course, both the Command Gundam, and if you happen to be a GM fan or any Federation fan, you can see like all the accessories look very similar to that. And yes, as you all could have seen, this kit and mentioned earlier does have its flaws, and articulation-wise, it's not 100% perfect. And with the armor now added on, it has a little more limitations. For example, like the upper section with the armor that wraps around, you can move the arms with no problems, but because of the ball jointed shoulder, well, I guess you would now call it chest armor, that part can be popped out if pushed too far out and such. So yeah, that's a minor flaw, and like I mentioned with the wrist, that armor can also get knocked out. So sorry if you were wondering. But I mean, other than that, guys, she holds together pretty well in her fully armored deployment and such. Minus one detail I have definitely noticed is the shields. You guys see here, they look great when they're assembled and deployed. The only problem is that since you're using the Estes Gundam's actual arms to hold them, well, the handles don't really hold 100% well in them. I mean, if I knock them, they'll just become loose, or the actual shield attachment will pop off the armor itself, and yeah, it's annoying, I won't lie. But I mean, other than that, as you can see, she is fully assembled, ready to go, and like I said, there might be some limitations, but she can still pull off some poses. And with the new shoulder cannon setup, that's definitely a Federation gun cannon, etc. Very good looking. I like that detail. I do like that. Now it does show, of course, like on the box art and the manuals, to only use one because of these cannons to, of course, homage the Command Gundam itself. But I honestly just like the twin cannon setup. It just feels right. Then again, of course, if you take off the standard open hand and just replace one of the fist hands, you could just have her hold the extra cannon too, if you wanted. So yeah, that is about it, really, guys. And like I said, articulation is about not that much different. Even though, it's got all this armor now on, the actual body articulation is not much different, really. It's still about the same, just some limitations on certain areas, like here. The waist, not really. That this armor doesn't get in the way that much. I have no problems with it. And now you have thrusters and verniers and a kitty cat. Yeah, you got a kitty cat on the back here that you can see. So yeah, but other than that, guys, yeah, that's it. That's really it, guys. Now, before I really say, my final thoughts, let me show you guys some, of course, some size comparisons with her other, um, Gundam Girl characters I have for you. Let's start with my last year's build, the Mobile Doll Sarah Virus version, which is definitely a fun build. And as you can see, Sarah is a lot shorter than Fumina is, and it's like, wow. And keep in mind, Sarah is actually the size of a standard Gunpla. That's, of course, the whole story behind her. She's not just a character-based model, she is an actual model. So, yeah, she's a lot taller. And remember, she's 144 in scale, so see what I mean, guys? And yeah, like I said, if you look at the face size here to Miss Fumina's, yeah, Miss Fumina's face is definitely a lot bigger. Yeah. Now let's move on from that, and of course show off another Gundam Girl I recently built this year, and that's of course Miss Soletta from Witch of Mercury. This is gonna be interesting because, yeah, yeah, yeah. If you're someone that likes tall women, well, don't worry, guys. Miss Fumina here is quite tall when it comes to this lineup. I mean, literally, wow. I mean, Miss Soletta's head lines up pretty much directly to her chest. That's how tall this kid is. That's wow. They definitely, I don't know, they just didn't get the proportions right, guys, or they just really wanted a tall Fumina, I guess. I don't know. It's one or the other, guys. And like I said, head-wise, yeah, it's a lot lot bigger. So yeah. So my final thoughts, guys. Do I recommend Miss Command Fumina to you guys? Well, or more or less, do I think this kid is an evil demonic monster? Um, no, I really don't think it's that bad. It has flaws, yes. Now, of course, with the new 30-minute sister line of parts and kits, etc., maybe there's a way to actually improve upon this kit with some parts, some upgrades, etc. There might be a way. I can't say no. I've seen that line do insanely impressive customs, so anything's possible. I'll at least say that. But do I recommend the full kit, guys? Do I recommend you go whenever Pbandai might relist this, or wherever you guys get your Pbandai kits, and say, heck, I'm going to pick it up? Well, I I would say 50-50 in that case. I'd say honestly 50-50. The 150 for yes, because if you happen to be a Build Fighters fan, a Battlelog fan, a Tri fan, or just in case like Bandai, a Fumina fan, you pretty much would like this one because compared to like Super and Winning Fumina, I think this one's more to her character in a sense. Now, yes, of course, her SDs will always be that, but remember too, guys, before SDs, she was utilizing the cardigan, which was, of course, a GM. And this kit more or less has the Federation styling to it. It's got the weapons, the style, of course, the command Gundam. And so, yeah, if you happen to be a Federations fan, this would definitely, this would definitely feel nice. I mean, and if you had some like camo decals to her and such, I think it would look really nice. Now, for the second 50, the no part. Honestly, I would have to say no, and that's in for this part because, like I said, the base model is not terrible. I've seen worse, but there are some flaws, and like the armor attachment, it's not bad, but there could have been some improvements on some parts that, would make it work much better and such. And if just and also, if you're just not a Fumina fan, I don't think you're gonna want to pick this up for that reason, or an SD fan, I guess in this case. Oh yeah, I mean, but if you happen to be an Armor Girl or Mecha Museum fan, and you want to try some Bandai ones out, I mean, technically there are better ones, guys. I mean, there are, of course, like I showed you, Miss Soletta, and even the mobile doll line. Those are pretty good from what I've known and what I've built. And of course, the new Figure Eyes, Fumina, and of course, upcoming Avatar Fumina. I think those ones will probably make a much bigger improvement with both of them. I mean, the Figure Eyes one I know has been pretty well liked, and as I've been seeing with the Avatar, fans have just been like, "Oh yeah," with it. So yeah, I mean, like I said, guys, it's about a 50-50 with this kit, guys. If you really want it because of the character, the style and so forth, go for it. But if you're really not and such, and you just want to try other girl kits and such from Bandai, and you happen to be a Gundam fan, I'd say maybe check out Avatar first. Because honestly, I'm not gonna lie, when Avatar comes out and I can try to get one, I might attempt to see if I can convert the parts from this Command Fumina on to the Avatar Fumina, just to see if it's possible to swap with them. Yeah, just for fun, guys. So yeah, that is about it for today, guys. As always, I thank you all for coming. I hope you're enjoying your hobby, and I hope you all enjoyed by me it was a bit chilly, but I hope you all enjoy a fun Halloween, and I will see you all later.